Okay. Good afternoon. Today is April 28th. You're here to finish the rest of the project which we were doing for precinct and boundary. I see we have quorum. Everybody's here. So Ami is there, Elise, Diane, Alan, David, and our council is here too. David? You go. Kevin, are you going to continue your job, which you did a few days ago?
Okay, sure. There are two issues that I think need to be addressed by the board, which is the locations for 0407, 0427, 0437, 0440, 0443. That's issue number one. Issue number two is White Oak 0506 is not available for the primary. White Oak Middle School is not available for the primary, so the board would need to vote to move to Jackson Elementary. The board does not need to make a decision today on whether they're going to remain at Jackson for the general. So sort of working backwards, it would be my recommendation to the board that the board sees how the primary goes and then assess whether they want to move from Jackson to White Oak Middle School for the general, or whether for purposes of continuity, they want to keep the same polling place for the voters of 0506. David, do you have a question?
I actually have a comment about 0506. And I don't have a problem with what you just said, Kevin, in terms of making a decision later. I did want to point out that 0506 in 2018 was one of what we called the Dirty Dozen precincts. It was one of the precincts that had a peak wait time of greater than an hour. So I would again want to make sure that we are doing what we can to minimize lines at that location, particularly for the general election. If we're moving to a smaller location in the primary, which I realize we may not have a choice on if the building's not available, all the more reason for us to be focused on that particular facility because of whatever additional resources we can give it, given the history from 2018.
I agree, and I thought from the discussion on Monday that maybe at the May meeting there'd be a preliminary discussions regarding the review of staffing levels at various polling places.
Right, and that would be great.
Yes.
So I know Janet and Chris and others have been working on a presentation on 0407 et al. Janet or Chris, who would like to take the lead on this?
Why don't we show the map so that we have an idea?
While we're waiting, Kevin, is there any more news on the downtown Silver Spring, the Silver Spring Civic Center?
There is
Peterson.
I got a follow-up call, and they said they were going to try and get some information to me by the end of the week, but no, I've not been given any definitive information.
Okay.
One of the things, are we ready? One of the things that we did for you was we enlarged the map so that you could see. The first map that you're looking at are the 2012 lines. The blue line was the legislative line, and then we had the red lines were school board, and then some of the grayer lines are the original precincts. But these areas here they had different jurisdictional makeup based on school, either legislative or school board. So it carved up these small, unusual shapes that you see here. The rectangle in the upper portion of your map, and then the two triangular pieces, or somewhat triangular, were all carved out. They were independent unto themselves. There was nothing else that matched their jurisdictional makeup. So even though some of them were ghosts at the time, some of them then people moved in. I think it's 440 had an apartment complex open up after 2012. So we wanted to show you how these two precincts were created originally, and that was in 2012. Okay, we can go on.
22.
So now we're looking at the line based on today's lines, what we're dealing with now. You'll notice that upper right rectangle that we were talking about appears to be inside the red line now. So we were able to absorb that into the precinct 0407 and retire that number that's there. But still those two triangular types are existing. Now the 440, which is the lowest of the triangular shapes, will also go into 407. That's somewhat of what we've been having to deal with in this area.
Chris, may I ask a question about that?
Yes,
So 440 is going into 407. So it has all the same districts, but is 437 somehow different?
No,
no,
no, 437 and 440, because they moved the Board of Education and the legislative line, the county council line to match the legislative line. We can get rid of those two ballot styles for 437 and 440 and make it one ballot style with 407 and just
Okay.
those two.
And what we're looking at right now is the 22 lines.
Yes.
Yes, these are the current lines.
Okay, so 437 and 440 can go into 47, but 438 is not part of Legislative District 17?
Right. That one is still a standalone.
Okay.
Any other question?
And just so, Chris, just so it's clear, where were all these voters, where were they slated to vote in 2018? And if they would have had a normal election in 2020, were they all going to vote at Twin Brook?
One thing that we, with some of them in 18, was we had asked the city of Rockville if they could help us by allowing us to use their rec center, which is within 407, the geographic lines of 407. And they allowed us to do that. The reason we did it in 18 was because there was difference in ballot styles. We were trying to make the process as simple as possible.
Okay.
So
And I think it should, and the board should know that SAC did reach out to the city of Rockville to see whether the rec center could be used. And the city of Rockville declined to host.
They say why?
It's a heavily used center for their residents in that area, and they provide daycare, after child care, and they have a lot of programs. And they said they're just not willing to inconvenience their residents.
Alan,
What? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
David, go ahead.
I was just going to clarify, Chris, when you talked about what we did in 18, you meant 2018, not District 18.
No, 2018.
2018, 2018.
Okay, thank you. That's what I thought.
All right. Any more? No. Kevin, go next.
Well, this is really what's on the table. Chris, do you have anything else you want to show the board members?
I think you want to show us the precinct on the other side of Twin Brook Parkway, right?
Which
409, I believe. you
No,
said.
427. I
Or,
thought that
Oh, on the other side of,
of Twin Brook Parkway.
yes.
Which
'Cause-
one is here? Yeah.
Now, that was proposed to be in Twin Brook. And part of the presentation that was sent to you last night was showing you the options that we might have for 427. Going down to Holiday Park, which is in a different precinct, but it is contiguous. It is adjacent to 427. We could send voters down there, or we could send voters up to the Twin Brook Library. I checked into Carl Sandburg, the old learning center of Carl Sandburg. Right now, that building is offline, but there are two options if the board is interested in taking 427 out of Twin Brook Elementary School and having it stand alone. And it has come to light that Mr. Naaman has been talking with Twin Brook Elementary School.
I had one very brief conversation today.
And we have been notified that it's conditioning in the gymnasium at Twin Brook Elementary, which then would make it much more comfortable for the voters that need to be in there. It would allow IT staff to put more equipment, more voting booths in that area. So it would then more easily accommodate the number of people that we're talking about.
And what is the total number? Under the new configuration?
2,000. 3479.
So
You know
it's,
what? 438 is there. 83.
so it's about 3,500 voters in there.
89.
3479 plus 83.
3479 plus.
So roughly 3,500, it sounds like.
Yeah.
About
Yeah.
that.
That's in 427?
No, it's the combination of everything
Oh,
at Twin Brook Elementary. May I speak to this, Madam President?
Sure.
A couple of things. I don't remember which map or which picture it was, but a large portion of what we see on this map that is in 427 is the Park Lawn Memorial Park. It's a cemetery. And in Montgomery County, Maryland, dead people do not vote. And so there aren't nearly as many voters in 427 as that large expanse of land might suggest. I think it's 427 is mostly, there are several small apartment complexes along Twin Brook Parkway.
Yes.
And I don't know whether, and perhaps I don't know whether our staff knows whether any of the rest of that precinct, once you get, past there's kind of an area there where you don't see any kind of roadway, but I know that the roadway in the middle of the precinct, that's the drive into the cemetery. And I don't believe there's anybody who lives there, like a caretaker or anything, but I'm not certain of that.
There's only 549 people here.
Right. And then the only other thing I was going to say is that I don't know if the board is interested. I did take some photographs. I did stop by Twin Brook Elementary today to look at the all-purpose room, and the very helpful principal secretary there showed me the gymnasium. It's a large gymnasium, and it is air conditioned. It's also ADA accessible, and I'm satisfied that it could handle the numbers, even though the numbers are very large. I mean, 3,500 for an elementary school is obviously, I don't know if we have another elementary school that has that many voters. But we also don't have, there aren't many elementary schools that have a large gymnasium that's air conditioned like this one. So, and I do think that the crossing of Veers Mill Road is still, to me at least, a significant issue. It's not, I mean, people do it, I'm sure, but that's to me, that's a very difficult, the intersection of Twin Brook Parkway and Veers Mill Road is not just a typical intersection, and I'd be concerned about that. So, thank you.
We don't have any other solution, right?
Somebody raised their hand.
Diane has her hand up.
Yeah, am I on mute? Let me see.
No, we can hear you.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, I think, didn't we get pictures of that from Chris? The schematic of Twin Brook and the setup with the machines, and it looked really good to me. And I think,
I believe that was for the all-purpose room
oh,
and not the
okay.
gymnasium. But
And-
I agree with you. The all-purpose room is larger than the average all-purpose room, but
Right.
the gymnasium is even better.
Okay, all right,
Um,
good. Thanks. And then my other question was, yeah, just my standing concern about Veers Mill, because I know that roadway so well if I ever try to get up to North Rockville. And there are not many crossing areas, but the Twin Brook area, I mean, they've got, I think, sufficient crosswalks. If people would just, if our voters could pledge to use the marked walkways. But so that, it looks good to me. It sounds like a good alternative.
I'm
Okay,
sorry, Diane, which alternative are you saying is a
The
good?
one that we're talking about, the cafeteria, it sounds like a good facility.
No, we're talking about the gymnasium, I thought.
Yep, I meant the gymnasium. Sorry,
Yeah.
got some issues going.
No worries.
Thanks.
gymnasium, that's fine.
Yeah.
Alan, yes,
Could we get crossing guards at one of the places where they might be crossing over Veers Mill?
you can
One
try.
of our staff mentioned that earlier today. That is a good suggestion. What we will do when we work with the police department is
Yeah.
to have a crossing guard at Twin Brook across, well, we'll have to ask the guard where he thinks it would be appropriate, but I thought up at the traffic light there, crossing Twin Brook up near Veers Mill would be the appropriate place to have a crossing guard.
Well, Chris, wouldn't it depend on whether we're talking about using Twin Brook Library or we're talking about using Twin Brook Elementary School?
Well, I was just thinking about, yes, definitely. We had Lisa took some really great pictures of the intersection, and we were talking about crossing guards there. Considering that we probably don't need to go across Veers Mill, I still think that crossing guards are available to us, and we could have a crossing guard there to cross over Twin Brook.
Yeah, Twin Brook can also be a dangerous street. My office is right off of Twin Brook, my daytime office. But I'm not sure. Obviously, there's plenty of time to work that out. But if we go to the elementary school, it might not be that Veers Mill is the place for the crossing guard. It depends on kind of where the voters on the other side of Twin Brook would be crossing. There's a number of different places where it might make sense to have.
The detail can be worked out later, so where the
Yes,
guard
but
stay,
while-
and we'll work on that one.
I agree. While I have the floor, though, I believe that at our last meeting, there were at least some voters that were near Randolph Road that were being assigned to Twin Brook. And I don't remember exactly why or where. And I was wondering if you could clarify that, please.
What was the question?
I thought that there were some voters that were either it was voters at near Twin Brook Parkway who were being told to go to Rocking Horse, or it was voters near Rocking Horse that were being told to go to Twin Brook Elementary.
It's 440 voted at Rocking Horse. We're moving them, this little precinct here, to Twin Brook Elementary School.
Okay, so we don't have any voters that are traveling between the two, because it looks like that's a pretty significant distance.
Well, for this precinct, 415 votes at Rocking Horse, and it's in 426. These two precincts vote at Rocking Horse.
Okay, 415 and 426 vote at Rocking Horse.
Mhm. Yes.
Yes,
Okay,
This little section here did vote at Rocking Horse also, but they're going to Twin Brook Elementary School.
okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you. Alan,
Once upon a time, when Twin Brook Library was in Legislative District 20, it was probably the smallest precinct in the county. And it had, I think, about 47 voters voted there. It was a tiny library, just saying.
Yes, we remember that well, Mr. Banoff.
Yes, Alan, they had their election equipment dropped off like 25 minutes after the polls closed.
Seriously.
Probably the combination of being down the street from the Board of Elections and being such a small precinct.
Absolutely.
They could have walked they could have walked the equipment back, right?
Yes, yes.
it's a bicycle. Okay. All right.
Wow.
Yes, Diane. No.
Oh, yeah, no.
Okay.
Are we
So
moving on to
next.
the next one, or?
Yeah, we go to
okay.
the next one.
Is,
Kevin.
is there a motion with regard to these precincts?
Yeah, we can take a motion.
Well, if you need a motion, and I don't know if you do because I'm trying to remember what the staff recommended, but I would recommend that, look, Kevin, you may have to read the list of the precincts for me, but I would recommend that all of the precincts that we've been discussing be assigned to vote at Twin Brook Elementary in the gymnasium.
Just so that I have it correct, Janet and Chris, it would be 0407, 0427, 0437, 0443, and 0440 would be voting at Twin Brook.
Now, what about 0438? Is that
Yes,
little?
yeah,
that-
but it'll be voting there, but it wasn't part of the redistricting. It's a precinct that's just a standalone that always voted there.
Okay, but I just want to make clear about all the precincts that are voting at Twin Brook Elementary.
Would include 0438, yes.
So it's 0407, 0427, 0438, 0443, 0437, and 0440.
Right.
Right.
But when you see it, it's just gonna say 0407, 0427, and 0438. We're getting rid of 37, 40, and 43 is becoming a ghost.
And 37 and 40, we're getting rid of them in the sense that we are redrawing the boundary of 0407 to include them.
Yes.
Right,
Correct.
right.
Yes.
Okay, and then staff will contact the school about the gymnasium.
Yes.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
We have meetings with the school. We'll make sure that's arranged.
Or this schedule a meeting with the school.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah. You're
So
welcome.
who would like to make that motion?
I would like to make that motion.
Hold on, Alan, do you have a question?
Yeah, maybe I missed it. They all have the same ballot style, all those 04 precincts
No.
have the same? No.
No, they don't, because the ones on one side of Twin Brook Parkway, plus that
Right.
little notch, they're in District 18, and the other ones are in District 17.
Yes.
So they don't all have the same ballot style. When they check in, they will determine the ballot style.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Go ahead, David.
I'll make the motion for all of those precincts to vote at Twin Brook Elementary.
I second it. Oh,
That's all right.
Those
oh my
in,
God.
those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, then we have this. Thank you. Thank you.
Now, do you need a motion on White Oak, or did we already, I guess we don't, you tell me, Kevin.
I think you should make a motion that the primary is going to be held at Jackson, is it Jackson Road Elementary?
It's called Jackson Road Elementary.
Yeah, for 0506. White Oak Middle School is not available.
Okay.
And are you all agreeing to the boundary change there? We're just taking 20 voters out of it.
Can you show it to us again, please?
Okay, let me find it.
Or perhaps I can get it off of the website.
Not the right one. The bottom is this portion of 0506 that went into 0505. We're taking that portion of 0506 and making it part of 0505, and there's 20 voters.
So it's just they're on one side of New Hampshire Avenue.
Right. So we're moving them to this little section right here, which is part of White Oak Middle.
Can our motion on 0506 both make clear that we still may want to be in the middle school for the general election, and that we are going to look at resources to address wait time issues from 2018?
Yes.
Then I will move approval of 0506 at Jackson Road for the primary, with the change for 0505 as Janet described, with the understanding that the board will look again as to where the general election poll would be, and that we will hear in May about addressing wait times in 0506 and the other precincts.
A second.
Any discussion? Those in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
I have it. Okay, this is one. Any more, Kevin?
That's it.
Finish?
All done.
Okay, this is nothing to do with the thing. The budget meeting is on Monday. What time, Alison wanted?
1:30?
Yeah, we do not have to attend because it's a budget meeting and the staff will explain the budget. So I'm just reminding you is that Monday.
But we frequently do.
Yeah, I'm sure whoever want to go, go.
Yes,
I have a commitment, I cannot go, but anyhow.
I plan to be there.
I'll be there too. You want me-
I'm sorry, Naheed, did you say you're not able to be there?
Yes, I cannot. But
Well,
it's-
it's,
Pretty sure I won't be making it.
what if I bring you, Diane? Since I know you can't drive, but in all seriousness, it's usually a good idea to have at least one member from each political party to be at the council for this.
I'm going to play it by ear over the weekend, if that's okay.
You can ask Alex. Alex, Mondays, you can come. You can ask Alex.
Yeah, I thought for Alex it's every other Monday, but I can.
You can ask
Yeah.
Ami is there too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can probably come.
But first, see if
Okay.
you can make it. Diane,
Okay.
You let David knows, okay?
Yeah, thank you. Definitely. I'm going to try.
Okay. I want to thank the team, which I call them. This is a big job they did.
Yes.
I
Yes.
I don't mention the name, but you know who they are. Can I mention your name?
Go ahead. Mention their names. Mention their
Yeah.
names.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
kudos.
Janet, Chris, Moa, Lisa, Louise,
Yeah. Yeah. Don't leave out Louise with the GIS.
and
Jerry.
Boris. Boris.
Jerry's the guy.
And Jerry is the one who told us what to do.
No, Jerry's the voters updates.
Oh, Jerry is doing all
Data work.
MD voter update. Is a lot of work, guys. I mean, it's not just that easy because I know that. I thank you so very much on behalf of the board. I'm sure the board agree with me. I appreciate so very much. All right,
Okay.
President.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Before you adjourn,
Alice,
I have a new issue, a conflict that I need to raise. I wanted to see if the board is able to reschedule the May meeting from May 16th to May 23rd. If you want to check your calendars now, if we're able to do that now, or if there's another date, or if we need to take this offline. As you may know, I'm currently serving as the chair of a federal advisory committee, the Board of Advisors to the U.S. Election Assistance Commission. That annual meeting was supposed to be in April and needed to be postponed, and I have a conflict. And so if our meeting is on May 16th, I will not be able to be in two places at once.
Okay, board, what do you think?
Fine with me.
Yeah, the 23rd works for me.
Does it have to be on a Monday?
I don't believe it has to be on a Monday. They have customarily been on Mondays.
Okay. Yeah, the 23rd is not optimum for me, but I could make it work.
Fine with me. I can do it.
David?
Yes,
Works.
works for me. Works for me.
Elise?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Diane?
Yes, Diane?
Looks okay for me.
All right, then, it's good for me. So our next meeting is on the 23rd of May instead of the 16th,
Okay.
right?
Yes.
Any other thing you guys like to discuss before Jerry throw us out?
Just please post that meeting change as soon as possible on the
They
website.
would do
Thank
that.
you.
They would do that. And
Yes.
then Janet just said it before we
Oh,
went. You
Okay,
could-
I didn't hear her say it, but that's great. Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, then, thank you so very much.
Stay well.
Okay.
Motion to convene,
Oh,
to adjourn.
I
I
have
move.
take a vote for adjournment.
Alan.
Who did? Alan did it. Who seconded? Nobody
I'll
want-
second.
You second. Almi seconded. Those in favor said aye.
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 Opposed? No, nobody opposing. Thank you so much, guys. Bye.
Thank you. Take care.
Okay, bye-bye.
Have a good weekend.
Thank you all.